All right, we're on Tuesday the 19th, so it is full body day, but I'm making it a core day. So what that means is everything that we're doing is gonna work our core. So that's all of your ab muscles, but also the sides and your lower back. So we're doing it 4 reps. So it says 50 to 100 reps of each. We have hip touches, kneeling chops, bird dogs, and laying knee tucks. So I'll show those first. So hip touches is when you drop to each side. Kneeling chops, or half kneeling, I guess it's called, is when you go up and over that knee, chop, down, switch sides, always chop across that knee. Then we've got bird dogs. So this is almost the opposite of dead bug. It's opposite arm, opposite leg, tuck. Out, tuck, and then switch sides. Opposite arm, opposite leg, tuck, out, tuck, and knee tucks. Oh, I should have put, well, we can do it like this. So you can either come heels, tuck, heels, tuck, heels, tuck, or you can advance and just never be touching the ground. So hip tuck, okay, let me talk about the structure first. So 50 to 100 reps of each. So what I normally do is I just pick a number. So I would say 100, I'm gonna do 100 reps of each, okay? You can pick 80, you can pick 50. If you are finding one thing is really easy and the other one and something else is really hard, you can pick a different number. So if you can do everything really good except the tuck things, then you could do 100, 100, 100, 60. You can do that. I just find it easier to start off by picking one number and trying to do that for all of them. And of course, you're not meant to do them straight through, so you're gonna have to take breaks and stop anyway. So if one of them takes you a little bit longer, that's fine. If you don't have the time, then I guess it's not. But I usually just start with picking a number and then trying to get that number of reps for each exercise instead of dissecting, and I think this one I can only get this, and this one I can only get this. Just pick a number and try to get there, okay? That's how I start off. So with your hip touches, I put in total because you alternate sides as you do it. So if it were to be, 100, and I'm just gonna start counting, I'm gonna count this dip as 1, this dip as 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, until I get to 100, okay? So what your hip dip is, or hip touches, I should say, sorry, is you're in an elbow plank, and you're just gonna let your body fall to one side. So you're gonna kind of try to tap your hip to the ground, return back to plank, tap the other hip, return, drop, return, drop, return, drop, okay? So it's pretty simple. With those, you wanna make sure that your butt is not too piked. I always say in every program, my feet slide a lot when I do it on the carpet, so I always kind of have to re-step when I return back to my plank. So as you'll notice, when I drop, I step, I step, I step, I step. It's not a big thing, but I don't want to keep sliding. So doing that little step of readjustment every time I return to my elbow plank helps, me from my feet sliding out. Kneeling chops. If you have a kneeling issue, you can do these standing. So with your kneeling chop, this is per side. So you're going to just put a knee up. So whatever knee you have up, you are going to start up on that side. So my left knee is up, I'm up on my left side. You can hold it like this, you can hold it it depends on what weight you're holding. These can be tricky to go heavy on because of the fact that you have to find a comfortable way to hold the weight. So don't so much focus on the weight, focus on the form and the twisting, okay? So if I'm holding it like this, I'm gonna chop down across to my hip, chop back up, down, and you can even look too. That kind of helps your rotation. You can hold it the long way, chop down, chop up, chop down, chop up. So when I first started doing these, I was always kind of like, well, which way am I chopping? But really you're chopping both ways. So you don't want to put all your energy into the down and then like no energy to the up. So you want to chop when you go down, you want to chop when you go up. And what your body's doing is twist, 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 pretty much as you chop, chop, chop. And even if you don't, so you're not necessarily like moving your whole torso, but when you chop across, your body's naturally going to move a little bit. And when you chop up, it's going to twist up a little bit. So you don't have to purposely like do this, but it's going to happen as, so really you should still be facing forward. If you want to look on the way up, if you feel like it helps a little bit, that's fine. This is what it would look like standing. Okay, so you want to chop up, chop down. You can hold it the long way, chop up, chop down, chop up, chop down, switch sides, you're up here, chop down, up, down. So basically, you're kind of working the middle and the side. So there's really, again, it kind of depends on how you're holding the weight, if you're standing, if you're kneeling, but what you're focusing on is chopping up, chopping down. So you're making a diagonal chop, and then when you switch sides, diagonal chop, okay? So your hands might be here, you might be holding it like this. It depends on what you're doing, but the basis is diagonal chopping, diagonal chopping. So when you come down, like for example, when I do this, I feel it right here. When I come up, I'm feeling it, I feel like a stretch, okay? This side twists, this side stretches. When I come down, I feel like a oof right here, okay? I feel a stretch. I feel almost like a crunch. A stretch, crunch, stretch, and then when you switch, you should feel it here. And you're also gonna feel it in your arms and your back just from holding the weight. So I noticed after I did this, like the next day or the day after, my back, like my whole back just felt like sore, and I could not figure out why. Like, cause I was like, I did core day, I did legs, like I hadn't done like upper body, but it was from swinging the weight. So you're also gonna feel it in your arms, which is also why full body and core go together. Okay, bird dog. So again, I explained this as kind of the opposite of dead bug. So dead bug, we're on our back and we lower opposite arm, opposite leg, lower. Here, we are bringing them up. So you're gonna be kneeling and you're gonna do opposite arm, opposite leg is out, and then you're gonna tuck, open, tuck, open, tuck. So this one, it does definitely test your balance. I like to kind of remind myself to open up my stance and not be so narrow. I open up my hips a little bit. So then you raise, raise, kind of crunch together. So I kind of am like this. I mean, my elbow and my knee aren't necessarily touching, but I'm crunching in, I'm opening up. I'm crunching in, I'm opening up, okay? Now, you wanna make sure that when you do the opening part, that you're not going too wild. So you don't wanna be like really flailing, you don't wanna be overarching your back. You wanna think about a neutral back. So it helps if you keep your head toward the ground. Okay, so when you come in, you should feel like you're squeezing your core and everything together. And then our laying knee tuck. So what I was explaining quickly is that you can do this one of two ways. You can do it where, so we're basically leaning back like this. You can have your heels on the ground and tuck to your chest, down, tuck, down, tuck, down, or you can also try it not touching the ground. So you're gonna hold, pull, hold, tuck, okay? So my feet are not touching the ground at all. So what I did is I started that way, and then when I couldn't do it anymore, I would let my heels touch the ground. For some people, it's going to hurt your lower back if you're in like this type of hold for too long, especially moving. So if you find that that's happening, then go to where your heels are tapping the ground, okay? And that is your Tuesday, the 19th.